Now we're joined on the line by the St Patrick's Athletics Assistant Manager Jon Daly, ahead of Pat's Europa Conference League third qualifying round, first leg away to CSKA Sofia tomorrow evening.
This is the man who knows all about controversial transfers, of course. I mean, we're not going to... Are we going to bring it up?
Well, he's on the line now.
I interviewed him last week and I never brought it up.
You never brought it up. He's right there. Jon, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
He's making the beautiful trip west. They're going to Knock Airport right now. He was thinking this is going to be a nice, relaxing interview, and now you want to get his thoughts on Rangers' shocking defeat last night.
Well, not quite. How are you getting on, Jon?
Not too bad. Just on the way across now. Just nice early start for us.
What happened at the weekend?
You just have to look at Sligo as well. You know, it's just the difficulty of playing in Europe and then having to play on a Sunday. It's obviously disappointing. We knew Waterford would pose us problems, and if we didn't defend right and we gave away 3 goals, we would be punished. So obviously extremely disappointed, but we just need to try and put that to the back of our minds now and focus on tomorrow.
It is true though as well, like, because I think some people did fancy Wexford at least to give Sligo a good game because of the makeup of the fixtures and all that. What's it like as a coach, Jon, or to come from the high and the travel and all that last week in Slovenia entailed, to taking on a team that are in the first division, but you know yourself, like, this is a potential banana skin?
I would have hung up as well. It was an outrageous question to ask, Johnny.
Sounds like he's in Tirana more than Knock, really, doesn't he?
Well, listen, you know, someone grew up by, 5 miles from Knock Airport?
Never been to Knock Airport, actually.
What?
No.
Oh, my God. This is a disgrace for your...
One of Charlie's finest moments, of course, bring airports to the west.
You'll find it was Monsignor Horn.
Charlie was involved as well,
second greatest horn to come out of Mayo, but...
Who was the first?
James Horn. Great James Horn.
Who's going to get the job?
Well, we should spend a good 10 minutes on this. The runners and riders, because the backroom teams are starting to come together. So obviously Kevin McStay comes in last week and has this sensational backroom team. Donny Buckley, Lee McHale. If Lee McHale is involved, I'm on board.
You like Lee McHale? Absolutely.
Lee McHale was my hero.
God, I still remember.
I put him on the Mayo Mount Rushmore.
I still remember
the best legs in showbiz.
1996, where Jim Carney wrote in the Tuam Herald, this game will be dictated by how Liam McHale plays. And of course, the Mayo players changed their football boots at half time. It was a particularly charismatically wet day in Castlebar. Galway had won the Connacht Championship in a canter the year before. 1996, we're probably expecting to win. I seem to recall my father going to the bookmakers in Glenamaddy, back in Galway at odds on to beat Mayo, and you had to pay tax on your bets in those days. And of course, Mayo did the job, and I was devastated after the game, thinking this is going to be a great year for Galway. Liam McHale was a hero that day. That's, God, how many years ago is that now, Nathan? 26 years ago.
That's depressing. That is depressing.
26 years ago.
Okay, Jon Daly is back, I think. The coverage on the way to Knock, it turns out, isn't great. I guess what Johnny's talking about there as well, like, was there a sense maybe in the dressing room before the game, or like that the high of Thursday was just going to be so hard to replicate that you can almost tell in the dressing room that this isn't going to be your day?
No, not at all. I think on the day, I think anyone that was at the game would have seen the chances that we created, and we obviously weren't clinical in front of goal, and we gave up poor opportunities for the goals we conceded. So that's football. If you don't take your chances and you give up poor chances, you're going to get punished. And we knew their front three were very good players and are very good players and can punish you should you give them opportunities. And I don't think we put it down to any feeling in the dressing room. We knew, obviously, the feeling of Thursday was fantastic. But straight after that game, after the celebrations, our focus is obviously on the game Sunday, and to try and get prepared as well as we can for that. And as I said, unfortunately, we didn't defend in the manner that we have done for most of the season.
The performance itself last week, you know, I don't know if you saw it, Nathan, but like, because it was obviously clashing the Sligo game. What was the heat like, Jon? Because Pats had 60% of the possession the first half. I thought it was a phenomenal achievement going away from home against a team that you were expected to lose to.
Yeah, well, we emphasised the point of having to look after the ball out there with the heat and the way it was, and obviously trying to control the possession if we could. Obviously, that's difficult going to a place like Mura, who've obviously been in the group stages last year, beat Spurs in the group last year. You know, so they've had that experience of playing in Europe before. We had a lot of players that are still quite in their infancy in their European careers, and it was very, very important that we got that across, and that we need to look after the ball. And I thought they've done it really well. They had to run around to press the ball and held possession that can be really difficult. So we tried to look after the ball and keep it as much as we could, and still try and create chances. And obviously on the night we had Big Joe was fantastic. For us, he made some brilliant saves. But we did have our own opportunities within the game, and again, we need to get better at taking these opportunities when they present themselves.
Can you actually talk about that? Because Pats have gone from Vít Jaros, right, who obviously was sensational, to Joey Anang, who could possibly even be better than him. Like, could you just sum up his performance, John, for people who didn't watch it?
Yeah, look, he was outstanding. Like, he's been like that for most of the season for us. He's, I think not only his shot stopping and his saves and, coming across his commanding his box, it's with the ball at his feet as well. I think he's been outstanding with the ball at his feet and his range of passing. He has, when he catches the ball, he has the one, the sidewinder volley that he does to pick out players that are breaking away. And he obviously, I've heard a lot about Vít from last year. I haven't seen much of him. I heard he was excellent last year, but Joe, for me, has been fantastic.
Looking ahead to tomorrow night then, that template for Mora, I'm sure is one you want to replicate away against CSKA Sofia, who, they're at the start of the season, they're level at the top of the league with Ludogorets, and you think back to Rovers at Ludogorets, it almost felt like they paid them too much respect, that Ludogorets were able to dominate possession. It looked like there was a big gulf in class in that first leg, and then actually they come to Tala and Rovers ripped them to pieces, are really unlucky not to pull off the comeback. It is away from home, being able to instill that confidence in the players to play your own game, to control it, and I presume the confidence you can take from last week is huge.
Yeah, of course. You have to look at this game and try and look after the ball. As I said earlier on, it's going to be warm. It's going to be difficult conditions. There's going to be a decent crowd there. They've got a very good team. I think they've got 7 or 8 internationals in their squad, so it's going to be a tough ask. But we will go into the game with confidence and try and get a result. And I think the most important part is that we take it back next week. That we're still in the toy. That we give ourselves a chance to try and get through the round. We've obviously looked at them as much as we can. The last round they won 4-0 in their home game. 3 goals coming from set players. So we're going to have to defend our box well and make sure we don't give up any cheap goals. And then, as I said earlier, when we get chances, which we know we will, because they've given up chances in the games we've played all season. So we will get some chances in the game that we're going to have to be clinical with, and we're going to have to try and take to give ourselves a fighting chance.
It's interesting you say that. So you feel that they're defensively, there's a little bit there that for you to be hopeful about at least creating chances?
I think on the turnover, yeah. I think, in the transition moments of the game, I think they are quite expansive in how they play with the fullbacks pushing on, and so they do leave themselves vulnerable to counter-attacks, and we have got good players in the team that can break the pace and can hurt them on that side of the game. So again, it's about our decision making and our execution, and we say it to the players all the time about that decision that you make and then trying to execute it in the right manner to give yourself the best opportunity to try and get an opportunity to score. So we do feel that we will get chances in the game, and as I said, we know we're going to have to defend well, especially away from home first leg, to try and keep ourselves in with a fighting chance. And it just really comes down to them moments that when we get them, can we punish them? Like we've been punished in games when we've given them opportunities.
We're speaking there, John, about the plethora of Irish. What would be your back three, actually, if you were to pick the Irish back three going forward? Because I'm going with Omobama, Daly, O'Shea, and Collins. What would your three be if you were to pick a three?
Probably wouldn't be far away from that, to be honest. I think there's a good selection there, but I think I wouldn't be too far off that one, to be honest.
Well, the Pats centre backs, I thought Joe Redmond, you've made him captain. He's a young captain. I thought he was absolutely outstanding again last week, and Gravosti as well had some great moments. You look like you're building something there.
Yeah, they're a good age, and with the profile of the players that we've brought to the club are good. It's just trying to keep them as long as we can, and I know Joe has just signed a new long-term deal as well, which is great for himself and great for the club to have someone of his calibre at the club for the next couple of seasons, and kind of gives you a platform to build on. We obviously started this season, we had to try and scour through all the players that were available with the turnover that they had, so it was difficult at the start, but we kind of feel like we're getting a squad together that is starting to, we can shape into and mould into what the manager's looking for and how he sees the team playing. So yeah, it's for me, it's just about trying to get continuity with them. I think all the good teams that actually want to do stuff and win trophies and have that continuity and have that togetherness for a couple of seasons anyway. So if we can keep the core of the group together now going forward, and hopefully we can build on it and try and get more experiences like we had last Thursday and hopefully going forward.
John, the line isn't great, so we'll let you go, but just before you do go, I guess number one aim is make sure the tie is still there for you heading back to Tala next week.
Yeah, I think so. That has to be the number one priority. Obviously, if we can take a chance or two on the night, then fantastic. But I think it's just about keeping ourselves defensively solid and making sure that we don't give away too much and don't give ourselves too much to do next week. All
right, John. Well, safe trip and very best of luck tomorrow night, and hopefully we get to check in next week.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
All right, Jon Daly there is on his way to Knock Airport.